Hey guys, welcome back to One All's Pub. Alright, well, if you saw the two unboxing videos, the impromptu unboxing videos that I loaded up just before this video for the two XM-18s you see before you, this one's the 3.5 inch and then the 3 inch, you're familiar with these knives. I'm just going to give you kind of a brief up close and personal with these now that I've got them out of the boxes. And actually this one I got a couple of weeks ago, and that unboxing vid was just kind of waiting to get uploaded. This one I did just get today, and filmed that one and uploaded both of them right away here. But I just wanted to show these two off, my latest acquisitions to my Hinderer Herd, and talk a little bit about the differences between the 3 and the 3.5, and kind of what I expected and whatnot, and kind of how I feel about the 3 inch versus the 3.5. So we'll start off with this one, since he's the one I've had the longest, at least. I kind of think I've had him a couple, 2.5 weeks maybe. It's a Generation 3 Spanto 20 CV, Duratech 20 CV steel. I put OD, it came with a flat dark earth. I put OD green on it and put some bronzed back spacers in here, and just a great knife. Really dig this knife a lot. As you guys know, if you've watched any of the videos on my channel, you know I'm a XM-18, a Hinderer fan, and big surprise that I like this one a lot. I tell you, the Gen 3s, I just really dig the Gen 3s. This one, just like my other Gen 3 that I have with the CTS-XHP steel, it's the stone washing on them, and the vids just don't do them justice. The stone washing is just, it's just really got a cool sheen to it, and it's a nice dark heavy stone wash. It's just really got a great tumbled look to it, and also, you know, the whole knife itself, all the edges and whatnot are all, you know, radiused and beveled more. They just have a kind of a rounder, smoother feel. The whole knife just has kind of a rounder, smoother. It feels, you know, it's subtle, very subtle, but it feels just a little bit like a little bit smaller in the hand, if that makes sense. It's not really small, isn't really the right word for it. I don't know. It really feels more comfortable in the hand. I really just like the feel of the Gen 3s a lot. I've just discovered that. Anyway, so I got an opportunity to pick this up and jumped on it. I really dig the 20 CV blade steel and the stone washing look of the Gen 3s, and like I said, just the in-hand feel of the Gen 3. Like my other Gen 3, this one has a little bit weaker detent than my Gen 4s. Matter of fact, they came out exactly the same on my scale as my other one, at about 16.5, 17 ounces to pop the trigger here. But like the other one, it flips just fine. It's really, as I said in my how to flip a Hinderer video, if you've watched that. If not, I recommend you do so. But as I said in that, you know, with the push type flipper, the detent is really not that important. And I'll demonstrate another thing here just to kind of show that. I'm going to actually pull this blade out past detent a little bit. As you can see, there's detent, right? I'm going to pull this blade out past detent a little bit, so there's no detent holding this blade in place. I'm going to take it and I'm going to preload. Do my little preload technique that I demoed in my other video, again leaving the blade out. I'm holding here, and you can't really see, but there you go. You can see that the blade is not in detent, right? I mean, there's nothing here. It's just, it'll roll right out if I don't take care to apply the correct pressure. No detent holding this knife in. Snaps fine when you use the preload technique. So again, that just kind of proves that you know, the detent isn't really what's needed to make a push type flipper flip well, and this thing, it does flip well. Anyway, so that's my latest 3.5, and this one's kind of turned into my most common EDC since getting it. This guy has ridden in my pocket the most of any of my XMs since he came into the stable a couple, 2-3 weeks ago. Only unseated really by that Spyderco Stretch carbon fiber ZDP 189 that I got a few days ago too, and then kind of put him aside and carried the Stretch for a few days. You know, and I carry all of my knives and all my XMs, but this one is, since coming in to the stable, has kind of become my favorite of the bunch. Just love the blade steel, love the feel of the Gen 3. put my favorite colors on it. The OD and the bronze is, you know, kind of my favorite combo here. So thought I would, you know, do that since I seem to like this one so much. And like I said, it has kind of really become my favorite carry of the bunch. But now today I get this little guy in. Now I've never had a 3-inch before. As you can see, it's orange, and you probably saw that in my unboxing if you watched that. I've never had a 3-inch before. I'd only held a 3-inch one time prior to this, and that was at a show, and it was a custom, and it was another guy's knife, and he just let me play with it a little bit. And I remember it being smaller for sure. I'm kind of getting in crazy with the focus there. Sorry. I remember it being smaller in the hand, but I'd really kind of forgotten how much smaller. I mean, when I got this, I was like, you know, wow. It was all day long I've had this, and I've been playing with it, and it is just, it's not only a shorter blade, it's a shorter handle, it's a narrower handle, it's narrower, you know, titanium frame, it's narrower G10, it's narrower blade stock. It's just, everything about it is just smaller. It's like a toy version of the XM-18, 3.5-inch, I guess, is a way to put it. And I'll be honest, you know, I've kind of waffled back and forth during the day about whether I did or didn't like it. But I think I've really settled in on liking it. I really think I do. It definitely has a different feel to it, you know, and it definitely has a different, you know, dynamic to flipping it, because you just don't get your hand set as deeply here, you know. And I'm having a little bit of an adjustment period because I still want my finger to be out here. Now I don't have my hand, I don't have the butt of the knife set in my hand, and it's tougher to do that way. So I have to I have to remember that I have to have that set. And when I get that set, it works pretty good, but I haven't figured out my muscle memory in my hand yet. It still wants the flipper to be out here, and then I don't have kind of the butt of the knife stuck in my hand. So I got to stick that back where it belongs and then flip. It's fine. If you noticed in my in the unboxing video for both of these, actually, this guy and this guy, both of them I struggled a little bit with flipping them initially. Not this one as much. I was really bearing down to get that one to really come out hard when I did it, when I first unboxed it. But this one I struggled with quite a bit. Both of these were just absolutely filthy when I got them. This guy had not been taken apart and cleaned ever in its life since being new. I actually emailed the previous owner, who was the original purchaser of this, bought it directly from Hinderer, and he said he'd never had the knife apart, and brother, did it show. It was all gunked up and mucked up inside. Took it, and it didn't flip good at all when I first got it. It was really, it was just gummed up. Once cleaned up though, it went great. Same with this thing, when I took it apart tonight, it was just full of gunk and grit and everything else. And taking it apart, and again, I'm kind of trying to master the transition from the bigger knife to the smaller knife, and getting the feel for where that needs to be and get it set in there. But once I got this thing cleaned up, it really just went from being a mediocre flipper to being a really nice little flipper. I hear some people complain that the 3 inches, again, this one doesn't have a ton of detent either. It's about the same feel. I haven't put it on my scale yet, but it feels about like my 3.5. This one, I hear people talk about the 3 inches and how they don't flip that well. And I get that, because it's just a smaller package. You're kind of, if you're used to handling this is a smaller hand. Everything about it's just smaller, and your hand's a little bit more cramped and everything. So ergonomically, it's not quite as, just as natural as this. I mean, they're so well. You can just flip that out so effortlessly. And this just takes the whole thing and shrinks it down and makes it a little bit more compact and tougher to do. So it's not really the dynamics of the detent. Again, same thing applies. If I get it set in here good, the detent is not the issue as long as I'm doing my preload. That's just slamming out. It's really just, at least in my case, it's getting that feel for where it needs to be in the hand and not letting it float away from there, because when that's floating, you just kind of go, I don't get a good brace against that. So I got to make sure I keep that, where it belongs, and that kind of binds my whole grip up here, which I'm just not completely used to yet, but I'll get used to it, I'm sure. I've gotten a ton better with it already today, just in playing around with it. But anyway, so that's you know, kind of the story of this guy, and actually the story of this guy too, is they both came, you know, just really gunked up. And if you buy these knives used, I really, really, truly, highly recommend, guys, take it apart, give it a real thorough cleaning, lube it up really good, you know, with your lube of choice. I use Daiwa reel oil. It's actually a fishing reel oil. It comes with a little, you know, needle applicator tip, you know, like you see in Nano Lube and whatnot. And it works great. The stuff just works fabulous, and it's like $3-4 a bottle. So I mean, it's way cheaper than Nano Lube. But if you use, you know, Sierra Key fluorinated grease or Nano or whatever, you know, your lube of choice is, just get the knife apart, get it cleaned up good. I mean, good. Get it cleaned up, get it back to the way it, you know, would have come from the factory. Spend some time on it. Take it fully apart. Get it lubed up, get it put back together, get your pivot set, because, you know, especially on new ones, the pivot always comes just a little bit tight. So back that out. You got some room. You can play around. You can find a sweet spot. And almost, you know, I've had 7 XM-18s now. This makes number 7. And they've all had that sweet spot. You know, each one you kind of got to find it, but once you do, bang, you know it. And this one does too, and I found it today, and you know, it's just a great little flipper now. Again, when I do my part and I don't float it out into my hand, like I said, still kind of trying to get used to that. But it's I found it, and its thing just it is a great little flipper. So and I really dig it. Getting used to the smaller platform for sure, but really really enjoy this little knife. I think I'm definitely going to keep it. The other thing that I wanted to go over real quick was, as far as my herd goes, you guys heard me say 7 XM-18s. No, I don't have 7 anymore. I've had as many as 7. Well, I've had a total of 7. The most I've ever had at any one time is 5. And right now I only have 4. I have these 2, plus my other Gen 3 with the CTS-XHP steel, and then my Gen 4 S35VN slicer flipper, also at 3.5. I've sold off my Gen 4 S35VN Spanto Flipper and my Gen 4 non-logoed 20CV Spanto Flipper, the one with the blue anodized sandblasted lock side. I just sold that and put that one in the mail today. So I'm trimming down. I'm not just keep piling them on and piling them on. I'm moving and shaking. I'm kind of trying to find and get to what I like. I think what I might try to do is maybe try to find a 3-inch Spanto flipper. They're, you know, kind of like trying to find a needle in a haystack. They're tough to find, and when people get them or people have them, they tend to not want to part with them, or if they do, they tend to want a lot of money for them. So we'll see whether or not I ever land one of those. But that'd be kind of cool if I could do that. Maybe get rid of maybe the XHP version of 3.5 that I have, and have a 3.5-inch Spanto and 3.5-inch slicer, and then a 3-inch slicer and a 3-inch Spanto. It wouldn't be a bad foursome to have XM-18 wise. I don't know. I'm just, you know, like most knife guys, I just sit around and scheme and think, oh yeah, what, you know, you're never completely content. You're always got to figure out the next coolest way you want to express your knife nuts. So anyway, just wanted to show off my knives here, and I'm getting really long here. Sorry, this got a little rambling and a little long. So thanks for watching, guys. That's 1 else 2 cents. Keep the change. Sláinte.